Alright, here we go again. I know I've been casting this player quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, and I think I've actually casted him more frequently over the last few months, playing his off races than I've actually seen him play his main race. Either way, today it's time for a best-of-3 series where Mr. Reynor is facing off against one of the very best Terran players in Europe, and his nickname, with the red Terran SCVs in the top right-hand corner of Glittering Ashes, is HeroMarine. Now, to make matters even worse, this particular best-of-3 is from an ESL weekly. So this is the ESL Open Cup Europe, I think number 127? If I'm not... okay, it could be 126, I'm not 100% sure. Either way, this is from a recent ESL Open Cup, and that particular tournament, a lot of people call the Big Gape Weekly, the HeroMarine Weekly, just because over the years, Mr. HeroMarine has won so many of these. Now, I can imagine that for someone like HeroMarine, there's going to be quite a bit of pressure on a series like this, just because of the fact that he's going up against one of his, main competitors off-race, right? Whereas on the other side of the map, we have Reynor just sort of chilling. I think 99% of people that were to predict a series like this would put their money on HeroMarine just because of the fact that HeroMarine, well, is genuinely amongst the very best Terran players that we have in StarCraft 2, period, but definitely in Europe. Whenever you ask someone who's the best Terran player in Europe, I think most people will probably say Clem. But at the very least, when we're talking about consistency, HeroMarine has been consistently good for the better part of a decade. He's pretty much always been at the top of his game, and, well, he's definitely still looking very solid right now as well. So I can imagine at the very least that for him, there's going to be a little bit of pressure, whereas for Reynor, he's just sort of doing whatever he likes. Now, what Reynor likes to do in, well, pretty much all of his Protoss games that I've seen is a heavy focus on Stalkers and Zealots. Right, so you go for a heavy focus on Stalkers and Zealots, sort of pretend that the Zealots are Zerglings and that the Stalkers are like a mix between a Hydra and a Roach, and you can just continuously push with all of those units. Reynor is definitely not shying away from going for upwards of 100 probes. I've seen him going for, I think in that one game he had 100. What was this? 99 or 100? Anyways. Oh, no, wasn't that Protoss versus Protoss against Skillus? That was a sick game, actually. If you haven't seen that yet, I'll go ahead and post a link to it down below in the description of this video as well, so you can go and check it out. Now, obviously, making 100 workers right from the get-go, not really viable. So Reynor decides to now go for a Stargate. HeroMarine following this up with a second gas already. And we've got ourselves a factory now coming up as well. We'll have to see what he decides to go for. Yeah. Already building up to 6 Marines. Those are pretty early because HeroMarine decided to go for a reactor first. So apparently he's feeling quite adventurous. Maybe hoping to catch this Adept that's currently wandering through the center of the map. Okay, Reynor knows what he's in for. Sees what's happening. Yeah, if that would have been an easy pick-off, that would have been pretty bad here for Reynor. Okay, so we're actually going to go and follow this up right now with a couple of Hellions too. So HeroMarine is actually planning on putting on quite a bit of pressure here. He's going for Widow Mines right now too, and I guess then a Medivec as soon as this starport is done. So he can follow up this Marine Hellion push with a little bit of Widow Mine shenanigans too. Alright, a little bit of a skill check right here for Reynor. How practiced is he against something along those lines? So, shield battery, okay, is going to finish up. It is pretty far forward too, creating a bit of a wall-off over here, so the Hellions can't just drive in. Oracle, trying to clear all of this. No. Okay, I was going to say, try to clear all of it out. The HeroMarine almost turned into a HeroMarine. Although I do think it's still going to get picked off, although no. Alright, the Adepts did not continue shading forward just because of these two Hellions. The Hellions here pretending to go for a drive-by, not really getting a whole lot of damage in. No, they're gonna get picked off pretty much for free. Except for that guy. Anyways, Armory is gonna finish up very soon here as well for HeroMarine, so that's gonna make that Widow Mine drop even more annoying. Since the Oracle is currently without energy, it's going to be quite tricky to actually pick up all of those units. Protoss is currently going across the map with the flyers that he's got. So how much damage? Oh my god, he's not paying attention. Alright, how much damage can the Terran player deal? Well, so far, quite a bit. Widow Mine continues in the main base too. There's one right over there on top of the ramp. Second Medivec filled up with Widow Mines too, moving across the map. And honestly, this is... yeah, this is really bad right here for Reynor. While he cleared out the first bit of aggression really well, he decided to follow it up with a counterattack, not really anticipating this move. This Widow Mine here in the back of the natural is going to be able to fire once more. 13 workers have already gone down, and HeroMarine, apparently happy with the way that this is going, decides to just go for more Widow Mines. And apparently he's just going to continuously drop them. So since there's a very limited amount of detection available here for the Protoss player, it's actually quite tricky. He decides to go for a second Oracle. Makes sense. Ooh, no retargeting on that Widow Mine. That could have been an additional... I don't know, 12 or so probes there going down, but at this point, it kind of feels like Mr. HeroMarine is rubbing salt in the wound already. This is kind of what you expect a series to be... yeah, what you expect a series like this to be like. Ugh, Oracle there gets picked off too. So that means not a whole lot of detection available anymore once this Revelation runs out, which it will soon do. Alright, another Oracle is out. Widow Mines just continue dropping. And honestly, at this point, 22 workers down the drain is way too many. Yep, GG is called. Game number 1 goes in favor of the German. A well-played game number 1 right there by HeroMarine. Not really running into a whole lot of issues whatsoever. Going for that little push earlier on. Seeing the transition from his opponent, and he realized, okay, an armory follow-up is going to be fantastic. Reynor at this point scouting out his side of the map as well. Game number 2, by the way, is on Hardwire. Really wants to make sure that he is not going to get proxied. So if you look at the minimap, you can see the path in the fog of war that this probe took. Apparently Reynor, though, convinced that there's not a whole lot of aggression on his side of the map, he decides to follow this up right now with a Nexus as well as a Cybernetics Core. Reynor mentioned that his goal with Protoss right now is reaching 7k MMR. I believe on a European server. The only people that have managed to do that with Protoss are Showtime and MaxPax. So if Reynor can go up to 7k MMR, that would be kind of funny. I'm here for it, if he decides to pull that off. Once again, HeroMarine going for a very quick reactor. Yeah, it really allows you to pump out quite a few more units earlier on, and is relatively safe. He's also decided to skip the... okay. He's decided to skip the SCV scout too, so he doesn't really know what he's going up against, but he probably thinks he's inside of Reynor's head, and judging by the way that, well, Reynor's played this so far, I think he is. Reynor playing a super safe game here, but he does decide to once more send out that probe towards the left side of the map. Second barracks there was not spotted, so it's going to be a triple Rex here for HeroMarine. He'll probably build tech labs on these two, and go for the Stimpak in the first one, combat shield in the second one, and then we can see him building up that Protoss, or sorry, that Terran army. Reynor this time around decides to go, not for the Stargate, but for the robotics facility. Fair enough. There go the Marines once more. This time around, the Shade, okay. Did finish. More Marines here. So this looks identical so far here for Reynor. Yeah, he didn't see the factory, so maybe that's nice for him to know, but he didn't obviously see the entire main base of the Terran here multiple times. Bit of a guessing game. I think that this one may very well get picked off, and yeah, so far, game number 2 going very, very well right here for, ooh, HeroMarine 2. Now, I thought he was gonna go for like a Stimpak combat shield-based push, because that's what we see all of the time. Instead, he's researching concussive shells. It is double tech lab still, so I'm expecting another Marauder produced out of this barracks over here too. Concussive shells, for those of you unfamiliar, it's usually an upgrade you get a little bit later on into the game. Now, he did hit a very small supply block here, which is not quite ideal. No, okay, so he's just gonna go for concussive shells on a single Marauder and then go from there. Maybe it's because of that supply block, I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, it basically will give the Marauder slowing attacks. So every single attack that the Marauder deals, or every little bit of damage that it manages to dish out, it's gonna slow down the unit that's affected by it. Very good when it comes to picking off, for example, Stalkers. So if this would have been a blink opener, it could have actually been quite a problem here for Reynor. Reynor, though, decided to, of course, go for that Robo facility, so he's gonna go and Chrono boost out an Immortal too. No, that's what you want to avoid. Okay. It's gonna be okay for now. Once the Immortal is out, though, I don't think he's gonna be in a whole lot of trouble here in general. Pretty late third Nexus here for Reynor, though. Didn't even go for one yet, so... Yeah, probably expecting his opponent to try for the quick 2-0. Maybe that's what he's still got planned, though. This is going to be +1 infantry weapons in that engineering bay, and then still Stimpak and combat shields. Stimpak will be done quite a bit before, you know, the combat shields will, but it doesn't really matter. Those Marines are already carrying a shield in their backpacks. We don't know where it comes from, but suddenly when that upgrade finishes, they just pull out a shield and suddenly they have 10 more hit points. It's quite amazing. You'd imagine they could just, you know, pick it up right now. I do believe, though, that Mr. Reynor is making pretty much all the right moves. Second Colossus coming up. Delayed third Nexus. He's going to be able to go for a shield battery over here, too. Battery overcharge won't be available until that Nexus is done, but... He's got 3 sentries, too, so as long as his force fields are on point, which I think we can expect Reynor to be on point with those, he should be okay. Yep, nice attack. Careful, though, with the concussive shells, of course. Third CC starts up right now as well for HeroMarine. He realizes he's not going to be able to just push for the victory here, so he decides to now go for the double barracks. As a follow-up as well, so that's barracks number 4 and 5. Yeah, so pretty conservative move right there for HeroMarine. He set up this entire timing attack, and then he's like, I think he's got me countered. Don't recommend making that move if you're playing on the ladder. If you're gonna go for a timing attack, usually you want to commit to it too, just because as soon as all of those upgrades finish up, your army is just gonna be, yeah, significantly more powerful. But Reynor playing one of the absolute safest openers you can go for. He has all of the tools at his disposal. HeroMarine recognizes it, and he decides to make the high-level decision to not go for that gamble. All right. So this is Mr. Reynor very deliberately forcing a macro game. He's got Stalkers in the main base, ready to intercept that medevac drop, so good positioning there. I think he saw it with the hallucinated Phoenix. But yeah, this is normally when we see pro players doing their off races, right? They're usually the ones going for the cheeky builds and the very aggressive ones, like, you know, those Scarlet Protoss games come to mind where she decided to go for some very aggressive, cheesy strategies. Reynor, though, not really playing that style whatsoever. It seems like he wants to, yeah, make sure he doesn't die in the early game so he can focus on the mid game instead. Historically, at least when Reynor first became good at playing Zerg, his mid game was phenomenal. His late game wasn't as strong. And then over the years, he got very good at late game too, and then his early game was super clean, so didn't really run into issues over there anymore either. But yeah, his mid game is historically where he's always shined. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see very similar things now that he's playing quite a bit of Protoss too, where he's going to focus on a lot of mid-game aggression. Survive the early game, that's the only goal, without, you know, too much of an economical deficit, and focus then heavily on the mid-game rather than transition towards late-game units. Alright. Wouldn't be surprised if we're, yeah, going to go for a 4th Nexus. And Reynor is getting his way right now. Now, is that really what you want, though, against someone of the caliber of HeroMarine? Because HeroMarine, while he's been playing a pretty aggressive style so far in this series, he's more than capable of just playing good old macro, right? Like, he's not going to be shying away from playing a game like this. 2-2 comes up. No movement here from the Terran player with 1-1, so he's going to wait a little while longer until the 2-2 is finished. You can usually coincide that with being maxed out. So he's going to be maxed out here over the course of the next minute or so. Yeah, a minute or two. Okay. Reynor's finished up Blink at this point. Charge is coming up. Usually he goes for, yeah, double forts as well. And then he starts researching attack upgrades and shields. This time around, though, he decides to go for the armor first. Okay, maybe he's mixing it up. He's going for both the Templar Archives as well as a Dark Shrine. Alright. Reynor wants to become the Templar Master. Fair enough. Now, what's the timing going to be on the 5th base? Because obviously you can make up to like 80 workers or so on 4. That's fine. What about the 5th? So he did go for gases over here, but no gases over here yet. Okay, Archons. Fair enough. Not making use yet of the 2nd forge. He is continuously chrono boosting it though. Alright, there we go. Attack upgrade's coming up too, so it's not like he forgot about it. HeroMarine decides to go for some drop shenanigans. So it drops on the right side of the map while simultaneously going for one on the left side too. Okay, good interception right here by Reynor. There is, by the way, a certain irony in someone called Reynor playing Protoss and Zerg and not Terran. I've only just now realized this. Maybe he needs to maybe he needs to play a little bit of Terran as well, see how that goes. I know he's been playing quite a bit of Terran too, but he seems to, when he first started playing his off races again, he seems to be, yeah, now properly decided on playing Protoss, but when he first was giving that a try, he was very happy to just play, yeah, both Terran and Protoss as well. Anyways. The Protoss units are once again in multiple control groups. Zealots split off from the pack, Stalkers over here at the front. Gonna be able to blink backwards. Main Protoss army here on the right side of the map. This is where Reynor is gonna start picking up the pace. 5th Nexus coming up as well. Okay, gotta be careful though. Don't lose the Colossi for free. Guardian Shield right there, very important. Stalkers here on the left side of the map, picking up the siege tanks. That one will be killed. Very nice. So, this is a very Reynor-esque move, right? So, that fight on the right was a fake one. He didn't actually want to move. Instead, he's just trying to, like, pick off whatever he can with the Stalkers right here on the left side of the map. Still, they were attack moved, so you gotta keep paying attention to those. Actions per minute is starting to ramp up as well. If Reynor can win a game like this, though, against someone like HeroMarine, that is definitely a confidence booster. And so far, he seems to be just fine. I don't think he's ahead at this point. I really do like the Terran's position a little bit better here. But it's not like he's in a bad spot either. Okay, this is a nice little drop right here from Gabe. Reinforcements are going to be able to get rid of that. Reinforcements on the low ground as well. At the same time, though, a huge Stalker ball made its way to the natural, but a great EMP is going to slow that down. Terran also picking off 14 workers here in total. So, honestly, this is going really cleanly here for HeroMarine. He's got his 5th and 6th Nexus. Or, sorry, Command Center. 7th Command Center coming up as well. He's going to be more than happy. Continuously harassing the Protoss player. And, well, over the last couple of seconds, he's now picked up 27 probe kills in this game so far. Alright. Wow. Might even be able to kill the base. Okay. He decides to EMP it. He really wants to get it. You can EMP a Nexus, by the way. Battery overcharge, though, is going to keep it alive. And Hero manages to... Or, sorry. I call him Hero? Reynor manages to keep that alive. That's a high honor to accidentally be confused with Hero. Hero, probably the rank 1 Protoss in the world right now. Anyhow. Yeah, Reynor was always going for the armor... or sorry, the shields upgrade rather than the armor upgrades. Ooh, that choke point. Not ideal for Terran units. Still, though, looked to me like HeroMarine was still capable of picking off quite a few of those heavy hitters. All of the Colossi at this point have been destroyed. Yeah, so Reynor not really getting into the groove of things here very easily. Losing those probes really does kind of suck. He's got another Nexus coming up on the left side of the map, but everything is going HeroMarine's way so far. +3/+3, just about to finish here as well. He's got so many command centers. So he's got 3 more done. He's got 4 already. He's morphing in a bunch of new ones too. One of the command centers, though, the one that apparently grew a little head, the little planetary fortress on top, that one will be destroyed. Recall being used, but... It's gonna be those Dark Templar to try and keep them alive. Uncloaked Dark Templar. They look a little naked. Bit strange. Alright, that's better. Warp it in the main base to try and get rid of all of this. Maybe the Protoss Sim City is not as good as it could be. You can see that Mr. HeroMarine has found a nice little nuke over here in between of all of that Protoss infrastructure. to really make it easier to deal with all of those zealots. Okay. Upgrades here for Protoss are also very good, though. And this is definitely a bit of a better engagement here for Reynor. Yeah. Forced liftoff right there. He doesn't have Stalkers to really follow it up and kill the Liberators as well on their way out. But it looks like, at the very least as far as I can tell, the dropships in the main bases of the... Except for this one, apparently. They have disappeared. Now, since there were plentiful command centers, HeroMarine decided to replace the one that he lost. Morphed another little hat on top of this one too, so another planetary is in its space, or in its place rather. We're gonna go for another orbital over here. Yeah, at this point, picking off command centers not the end of the world anymore for HeroMarine, because he's got so many of them. Dark Templar though, moving on the right side of the map. Stalkers moving in the center of the map. The main Protoss army moving on the left side of the map. Triple-pronged aggression right here from the young Italian. Killing a whole lot of workers over there, although apparently the Ghost just ended up sniping down the Dark Templar. Not something we normally see, but that's 16 SCVs. Okay. 8 command centers though, all producing an SCV each. So yeah, that's 2 production cycles right there. Gonna be able to bring that back easy peasy. HeroMarine now even going for the medevac boost improvement. Alright. This is where Reynor can get into the groove. Where he can start harassing. He can start doing that multitasking. Dark Templar actually blinking behind the Ghosts. At the same time, on the left side of the map, massive Purification Nova does connect right there with that Terran army. That's where Reynor wants to be. Creating distractions. And then connecting with some of those Terran units. 2 Liberators over here get spotted as well. Hello. Okay, no response. Those Liberators have been awesome. At the same time, though, that little Zealot Stalker hit squad did move towards the right side of the map, but stays alive for now. Might need to go into a Stargate here soon, too, though, because those ranged Liberators are very scary. Advanced Ballistics is an amazing research. Makes it much harder to actually pick this off, especially with just Stalkers. Like, how are you going to reach this? You can't, right? Not with Stalkers, because you can only go over there. I mean, you can try. You can sacrifice a bunch of units. Okay, well, that's exactly what he does. Reynor at this point definitely has a very solid economy, right? Like, he's got himself pretty much all of the mining bases that he likes. Terran is a little bit more conservative with their positioning. Base over here is not acquired yet. Base over here is not acquired yet either. That does mean as long as these traits keep being okay for HeroMarine, he should be okay as the game progresses too. Just because Reynor doesn't really have, you know, that many more places to go. He's got this expo over here to mine and maybe the one over here. Okay, that's what he does. This is normally considered to be a Terran base. This particular spawn location anyways. Mining that one out would be pretty sweet. Okay, good. Scanner right there for HeroMarine though. He sees it as it gets planted down. Once again, aggression right here on the right side of the map. Would have loved to see maybe a planetary fortress in this choke point. That would definitely shut down a lot of this this pressure. Okay. Some splitting going on right there for HeroMarine, but that was definitely suboptimal. HeroMarine though also shows that he's perfectly capable of splitting up his army. That being said, recall right there being utilized, and he's going to be able to get at the very least some of those Terran units out of there. But still, 13 probes go down. Nexus is still low from earlier. Probes are definitely going to take some damage here too. Yeah, I say that. Okay, there we go. Liberators ended up gunning down whatever they could after the attackable units disappeared. The higher threat units, that is. Alright. So, 66 workers so far killed here by HeroMarine. But HeroMarine is a little bit afraid, it seems, to start going for those outer bases, yeah. So, obviously, he's already been kind of struggling against the run-bys into the bases that are, well, currently on his flanks. If you're gonna go for the base all the way on the left side of the map and then also all the way on the right side of the map, it's gonna make that aggression from the Protoss even more powerful. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Big Zealot run-by intercepts the SCV transfer. Push over here on the right side of the map as well. Grabs one of the Liberators. Command centers now are forced to evacuate on out of there. Maybe one of the orbitals will actually end up going down. Where's the Terran army? I guess it's busy right here on the left side of the map trying to clean up those Zealots. There's a lot of units over here in the natural expansion too. Careful. Reynor goes bowling. Yeah, okay. Not quite a strike, but good enough. Yeah, and now he's just gonna try and break the natural expo right here of the Terran player, and honestly, this is dealing a lot of damage. Orbital Command ends up going down. Command Center over here on the left side, not acquired yet either, by the way, although HeroMarine did kill the Nexus that was previously planted there. One Phoenix, okay, is gonna be able to take care of one of those Liberator flybys too. Speaking of Liberators, though, the count is not as high as you'd like it to be. 13 of them have gone down. At the same moment, once more, Dark Templar and Zealots in the top left-hand corner. This expo probably next here for Reynor. He's gotta be careful he doesn't get overly aggressive. But look at the bank. 94 workers allow you to warp in 14 Zealots at a time. Easy peasy. Another Purification Nova Duskull neck. And Reynor's mid-game with Protoss, it reminds me a lot of Reynor, like, when was this? 4 years ago? Maybe 5 years ago? It's looking, honestly, extremely good. And that brings us to 2,000 atmospheres. Our final game in today's Best-of-3 series. HeroMarine apparently feeling a little bit more aggressive. Pretty conservative proxy, all things considered, though. I'm assuming he's gonna build a barracks over here, yeah. Let's see. How much work can you get done with a proxy like this? Well, once more, just like Reynor likes to do in Terran versus, or I guess Zerg versus Terran, he's scouting with a worker to see if there's any proxies anywhere. And despite the fact that this is a very conservatively placed barracks, he's gonna find it. If he can shut this down, that would be absolutely huge. A second probe was immediately pulled from the main base too. Reynor fully aware of the fact that if this barracks were to not finish, Terran basically is dead. Alright. Looks like he's gonna be okay. Yep. You can't control, by the way, where the SCV is building the structure. It's a little bit of randomness in StarCraft 2 that I kind of wish, you know, was controllable. Or at least a little bit more controllable. What you can do is, like, cancel the construction and then, like, re-enter the SCV and then cancel and re-enter until it eventually scoots on over to a location that is preferable, but you don't have a whole lot of control over it. Either way, HeroMarine gonna be able to get that Reaper in nice and early. Nexus, though, has already been planted down. Probably would have loved to block that, but not gonna happen. Zealot was made, so Reynor really didn't want to take any chances. HeroMarine going for the double gas instead of the main base. But only mining with 3 of those workers inside of the gases. Alright. Well, single worker kill right there for our Terran player, but he also ended up losing the Reaper, which is definitely suboptimal. Okay. Little bit ballsy. Probe is gonna regenerate shields though. Yeah, okay. HeroMarine decided to skip out the SCV for a fresh one. Probe ended up getting killed right there by another Reaper. Okay, so just a good old 1-1-1 here for HeroMarine as a follow-up, but we took a bit of a different road getting here. Okay, decides to bypass the Widow Mine. That means that this Stalker will have to be recalled and out of here. But so far, I mean, there's no there's not really a whole lot available here for the Terran player to be able to deal with this. Very aggressive move out, even the Zealot, okay, tried its very best. There's a lot of zoning going on, but now that the Widowmine is fired, this one can be killed as well. Reynor apparently. Maybe he heard me talking about the early game. The fact that he wanted to just get into a mid game no matter what. That was a beautiful grenade right there. Wow, okay. Pretty much flawless right there for Gabe. Anyhow, Reynor showing us that his early game pressure is definitely also noteworthy. Yeah, it's a little bit awkward. The Widowmine, by the way, just burrowed or just walked on over in a different location. Reynor just trying to be as annoying as possible. This time around, by the way, he's showing some variety in his openers once again. First game he went Stargate. Second game he went Robo Facility first. This time around he went for a Twilight Council. He's researching Blink. Alright, HeroMarine is going to be able to stabilize. Yeah, this is why you always like to have like a Cyclone or something along those lines, right? You can really prevent a lot of that early game shenanigans. That one Widowmine, by the way, it walked on over towards what is normally considered to be the third base of the Protoss player. Yeah, maybe you can pick it up. Try and go for some drop shenanigans inside of the Natural Expo right here of Reynor. Alright. After game number 1, I was actually a little bit concerned that this was going to be a very one-sided series. Because honestly, HeroMarine seemed, yeah, just way more on point. But it happens sometimes in a game of StarCraft 2 where, like, you know, it's like a house of cards. One level starts falling down and suddenly everything is leveled to the ground. Okay. This time around, much better on the pool. Oh god. No, 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 no. Oh my god, okay. Those were the probes that came from the natural to the low ground, or to the high ground rather. So they moved over here, grouped up together, and got right-clicked on that one mineral field. If that Widowmine would have fired, I think it probably would have killed everything. Crisis averted for the most part. 5 probes ended up going down. Third Nexus, about halfway done. Maybe HeroMarine can go in for a move a little bit later as well. Yeah, looks like he wants to try. Okay. So, triple Rex once again. Combat Shield Stimpaks, +1 infantry weapons. The good old faithful. The nice, comfortable style you can pretty much always play as Terran against Protoss. Well, as Terran against everything, but especially against Protoss, this works out quite well. He's got the one medevac over here on the left side of the map. Not gonna happen. Robo Bay in the back of the main base as well. I don't know if HeroMarine, well, I did see it, but I don't think he clicked on it. Although you can probably make the assumption at this point that that is a Robo Bay. Either way, Blink Stalker. They're now at the front. Prism is over here too, so Reynor is going to start dealing some damage. Blink Micro is looking very good so far. SCV's pulled away from their mineral line as well. Okay. How many gateways does he have? Okay, he's got 4 gateways. 5 probes, by the way, ended up going down right here. Okay, it's a Raven that flew in. Maybe that Raven would have been nice to have at home, though. Because sure, you can kill 5 workers on the other side of the map. That pickup micro is really, really good. My god, Stalker, Blink Micro together with Prism pickups? It is very difficult to do properly, but when you do it properly, it works out incredibly well. Reynor just killed so many workers here, as well as a big chunk of the Terran's army. Okay. He's just trying to win right here, right now. A couple of Zealots added into the mix, too. Didn't go for the charge upgrade yet, which is kind of funny. Maybe he's overstaying his welcome, though, because a lot of those low HP Stalkers are getting picked off. At the same time, the Raven over here, the Widowmine drop over here, trying to be as annoying as possible, but it looks like Reynor was paying more attention to the mini-map than I was, so he managed to actually keep that mineral line alive for now. HeroMarine leaving it over there just to hopefully catch the retreating workers, but sadly here for Gabe, he wanted to grab that entire pack, but that didn't happen because another probe already popped out of the Nexus once more, and that's what triggered that Widowmine explosion. Yeah, I think that was a little bit overly greedy right there from Reynor. Okay. Nicely done. Drop at the third base. This is, I think, pretty much the entire Terran army that's out. Okay. Reynor's gonna try and save whatever unit he's got. No shield battery at this third base. Okay, Prism. Ooh, taking a lot of damage. There's still one Widow Mine that needs to fire, but apparently that one fires on another probe. Good kiting right there by Gabe, though. He decides to get on out of there. Charge finally coming up. Okay. HeroMarine creating a lot of chaos. Worked out for him brilliantly in game number 1. Game number 2, I mean, he's also killed 29 workers. I think 8 of those were from the Raven. Speaking of which, okay, it did stay alive. It's still hanging out in the bottom left-hand corner of the Protoss' main base. This is a less successful drop. Ah, yeah, a little bit overly greedy once more. HeroMarine apparently just sending whatever army he can, wherever he can send it. Problem is, he's still on 2 bases. So this is, for all intents and purposes, a 2-base all-in. And Reynor at this point probably starts to realize that too. He must realize that as long as he doesn't die, he's gonna be in a pretty good position. There's finally the third command center starting up, but that wasn't the original plan right here from HeroMarine. HeroMarine's plan was to try and make a lot of stuff, throw it at a wall, and then hope it sticks. Which is, yeah, great, depending on what you're throwing at a wall, right? Like chewing gum? Probably will stick. Terran units, though, apparently not. Not in this game, anyways. Widow Mine drops, continue once more. Good splits. Yeah, Reynor's multitasking is on point. We're almost starting to take it for granted here, but this is Reynor going toe-to-toe against one of the best Terran players from Europe. And dare I even say it, I think he's so far winning this last game in this best-of-3. It's not over yet, though. If HeroMarine has any say in the matter, he's gonna try and see if he can close this one out just with sheer pressure. Looks like the unit splits have been pretty on point here, though. Okay. Whoa. Whoa, did you see those zealots charging around the stalkers? That was brilliant. Okay. That was something. Okay, hallucinated Phoenix. Beautifully positioned by Reynor. Scouts exactly what's going on. Medevac drop isn't even gonna try. Now finally, though, the third command center is landed, but this is 11.5 minutes into the game. The reason why that's significant is because the main base is already out of money, right? Natural is trying to run low. That base is an absolute necessity, no longer like an early game option. Okay, Prism in the main base, starting to put in some counterattack pressure too. Zealots over here at the third base. He sees the timing at which this orbital is morphing in, so he probably knows that that is an extremely late one. Siege tank will be killed at the cost of a bunch of zealots. Now, though, it's our Protoss player in charge of the pacing of this game. That being said, that is a very Marauder-heavy army, and those Colossi aren't particularly great against Marauders. Yeah. Still, though, while this is happening, we see Zealots in the main base, Zealots at the third base. 18 SCVs have just been killed. It was at the cost of the laser giraffes, but may very well be worthwhile. 50 SCVs have been killed. That Prism is not going to be able to get out. Alright, at least one very dramatic death animation. At least one of the Marauders ended up getting out of there. Reynor's fourth base coming up at the 6 o'clock position. Also no longer really an option because he also needs a place to actually mine from. As you can see, 14 out of 8 in the main base, 17 out of 8 in the natural. Stalkers over here on the right side actually are working on the orbital command itself. HeroMarine ends up losing an entire command center. That one was just weakened for a little while. Recall right now realized too, because Reynor recognizes that there must be a Terran army out there somewhere on the map. Battery overcharged coming up too. The Colossus just shooting lasers at whatever Terran unit wants to be hurt. Okay, a couple of force fields slowing down this Terran's advancement as well. Reynor with a very aggressive blink forward, a little bit too aggressive on that blink forward. HeroMarine decided to turn around and snipe a couple of those stalkers too. Probes are pulled away right now. Are there enough Protoss units still available to actually clear all of this out? I think there might just be as soon as those reinforcements are done. Defensive blink still available too. Aggressive blink right now also an option. Decides to snipe 2 more of those medevacs. Okay. HeroMarine is all in. You should probably bring the boys. Either that or he can fly this orbital command towards the low ground. Another Colossus is coming up. Attack upgrades for the ground units also finishing up very soon. Okay. Stalker set up for a bit of a surround. Reynor trying to get fancy. Picking up the reinforcing units as they come across. This is what Zerglings normally do. You usually use the Zerglings to try and pick up reinforcements, and it works like an absolute charm. He's given up a base because he doesn't care. He's got another expo right over there. Well, he does care, but he knows very well that our Protoss player is, that our Terran player is dead broke. This is really the last leg right here of HeroMarine, who's desperately stutter-stepping backwards with his Terran army. Aggressive blink forward once again. HeroMarine really wants to make sure that those Colossi do not fire, because there's no way he can properly face off against that. Random siege up in the middle of the map, maybe starting to get a little bit panicked, or maybe hoping, crossing his fingers and hoping that the Protoss player walks on into that siege tank fire. Okay. The Natural Expo, flying on over towards the 3rd base location. All Reynor needs to do is just chill for a little bit, but I don't think that's a word in his vocabulary, so yeah, he's gonna continuously fight. He could just sit back, bring, like, you know, more reinforcements into the mix. He's got double his opponent's economy, but he doesn't want to give HeroMarine any chance of coming back into this game. That does come at the risk of accidentally, well, losing, right? Maybe not ideal. Did decide to replant that Nexus, by the way. He still only has, yeah, he's got 8 gateways actually, so it's not a small amount of stuff. He's gonna be able to spend his money pretty well. All right. He backs off for a little bit. Plants down a Templar Archives. Stalkers going around the site. There are siege tanks right now available. Reynor is seeing all of it though. HeroMarine has probably also seen the Observer, but he can't spare a scan at this point. Can't really afford a missile turret either. Alright, you know what? I said that maybe Reynor didn't have chilling as part of his playstyle, but this is, I think, the right move. He's got 71 workers versus only 33. HeroMarine hasn't added on any workers for a long time either, so all Reynor needs to do is just make a bigger army. Do it the Zergy way, you know? Just sit there, spread your creep, make a big army, land the fungal growth as soon as they move out. Stalkers coming in from the side right now. Medevacs get picked off. Medevac. Singular. Okay. Prism is out. Reinforcements can be warped in 8 at a time. Soon to be 10 at a time. Is there enough right here for the Italian Stallion to get a 2-1 victory over HeroMarine? He's trying desperately right now. Siege tanks, though, dealing a ton of damage. Good force field over there. And there it is. GG is called. Reynor ends up winning with his Protoss over HeroMarine 2-1.